statement that he gave the permission to the Iranian government to negotiate, and he said, I think differently, but I gave the permission to the government to negotiate. By the way, it was the same. We had the same position from this former supreme leader of Iran with the case of JCPOA. He said the same thing. And later on, we've learned that he was right about the JCPOA, because Donald Trump simply destroyed everything. He withdrew from JCPOA. But right now, with what's going on, considering those points in JCPOA, which one of the most important points, in my opinion, is related to the situation between Israel and Lebanon, the ongoing fight that is going on. Donald Trump is trying to put pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu. It's something new. It's something new for Washington. It's not something that Washington is accustomed to. It's something new for. That's why you see many people are arguing and criticizing Donald Trump in Israel and outside of Israel in the United States. But how do you see the whole situation, the way that Iran is coming in, the United States is trying to manage, some sort of thought, and the complexity in Lebanon?
See, you've asked a couple of questions. Let's do that one by one. Now, as far as the MOU is concerned, in my opinion, both Iran and America, they are keen on this MOU, that this work towards the deal. That means after 60 days and beyond 60 days, they can extend by mutual consent. Now, as far as President Trump is concerned, he wants the war to end. And there are many reasons why I say that. So for the Americans, the war is over. One reason is that President Trump actually has no military option at all today. Whereas the Iranians, they have a lot of military options and they have economic options. They can bring global pain, economic pain to the world. They can block the Strait of Hormuz, the Red Sea, whenever they want. So they have far too many options. That's one. Second, in my opinion, President Trump, he wants to be remembered as the president for peace. Because please recall the national security strategy of the Trump administration that came out in November 2025, it very clearly said that President Trump wants his legacy to be that of the president of peace. So he's got into a wrong war. Now he wants to get out of this war and retain his legacy. Then there's another point, and that is that in 2025, President Trump, he renamed the Department of Defense as the Department of War. And recently we heard Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, he has sought a budget for 2027 for the Department of War, a whopping $1.5 trillion from the US Congress. Now, what they want to do is basically get out of this war in West Asia and pivot to Arctic Ocean, because that is where the problems are there for the Trump administration. There are military problems, then there are economic security issues also, because if you see the Western Hemisphere, something like 22 countries, they are on board the Belt and Road Initiative of China. And this is the reason, in my opinion, that President Trump himself has signed the MOU. That means he's taken ownership of the MOU, and after that, now he wants to see this implemented. And this is the reason, what you mentioned, the unusual things are happening, that both President Trump and J.D. Vance, they have come out openly against Israel and Netanyahu. And J.D. Vance has very clearly said in the open that Israel can only sustain itself with American power, and that is the reality. So that is where we are. So as far as the big war is concerned, in my opinion, the big war is over. The war that America was fighting with Israel, but we are left with, America was fighting with Iran, but we are left with the belligerent Israel. Now, as far as Israelis are concerned, everybody knows that they have their different war objectives. So they will continue with what they are doing in Lebanon. Now, there are two things involved here. If you see the MOU, it calls for two things. One, it says that there must be peace on all the fronts. That means all the allies of the Iranians, that means the entire resistance front, that should calm down. That includes Lebanon, and that includes the ceasefire in Lebanon that the Israelis should do with the Hezbollah. That's one part. The second part is that the territorial integrity of Lebanon has to be maintained. What that means is that the Israelis already are in occupation of southern Lebanon. Something like 20% of the territory of Lebanon is under the occupation of Israel. They are now reportedly building up their settlements there. They have changed their maps there. So I think the Iranians are being extremely wise. They want the ceasefire to end. I mean, for the time being, it has stopped. That means, as far as West Asia is concerned, they have to live with this no war, no peace situation. So long as the ceasefire holds, the territorial integrity issue can be tackled later, which is why the Iranian team led by Abbas Arakchi, they are already now in Switzerland or they are on their way, they are going there. Unless again Netanyahu breaks the ceasefire in Lebanon. So that is what is happening in West Asia. So we are looking at what I call a no war, no peace situation. The mischief of Netanyahu will not go away, not only there, but in Gaza also. If you see, since the ceasefire came about in Gaza in October, Netanyahu, something like 1,000 civilians, they have been killed. A genocide has been going on there. They are not getting the humanitarian aid at all because of Netanyahu. So the Zionists will continue with their activities. That's one part. Second part, very interesting that you have just come out, you have asked me, is about the supreme leader of Iran, which is Mustafa Khamenei. Now, see, what has happened is that the Iranians, when you see the MOU, they have got a lot. And they should get a lot because they have won the war. It's simple as that. This is not a MOU which has been done in peacetime, that both the sides have to win. So all these tantrums that are going on in America, from the policy makers, from the media, from the establishment, that Trump has given more to Iran in the MOU than he has got in return, it's baseless. Because this MOU is a consequence of war, a war that Iran has won decisively. So once we understand that part, the problem now is there are a lot of Iranian voices which are saying that Iran should have nuclear weapon. So what the supreme leader, in my opinion, has done is he has taken those voices also in consideration and issued a statement saying that his views are different from the views of the president Pezeshkian. And what he's saying is, I will go with the opinion of the president because he's the supreme leader of the National Security Council of Iran, and he's the man who has signed on the MOU. Now, you see the point that the Iranians need to understand something that their leadership has understood. That is very simple, that what the Iranians are trying to do in West Asia is to take everybody along. This is what the New World Order is all about. That means you create all your problems of the region should be solved by the regional players. That means everybody has to be taken along. Now, if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, what happens is that the trust will be lost. The Iranian will not be trusted by the regional players. Now, if the trust is not there, then you cannot build up a regional framework, something that the Iranians are trying to do. So, as far as because then what will happen is that Iran will be seen as a hegemon and not as a partner country if Iran gets the weapon. So, I think what is happening is that the Iranians